is Invictus Bakery and its mission?
Hi, I'm Molly. I'll start. Invictus Bakery is a nonprofit bakery, and we provide job training and employment to people on the autism spectrum and also with related disabilities. And our mission is a reimagined future of employment for all.
It's an incredible mission and bakery. Speaking of personal experience, what was the inspiration to start Invictus?
Well, so I'm a special educator by trade, and I'm Allison, Molly's
Mhm.
co-founder. I'm a special educator by trade, and I started a business that did mostly like recreational programming, like on the weekends, we would have play groups and things. And very fortuitously, one day walking through my door came Molly and Ava, her daughter, and we became really fast friends because I hung out with Ava for a couple hours and all I could see is how amazing she was. She had a great sense of humor. She was a go-getter. She was so
Hmm.
to be around. And when I came out and gave Molly the report on how the day went, she was kind of stunned by my positivity because sometimes in the special needs world, and especially in the early days when I met her, Ava was 3.5. So Molly was just kind of getting into this world of special needs educators, and a lot of people operate from a deficit model, what Ava couldn't do or where her challenges were. And I kind of
Hmm.
come at it from the opposite. And so we became really fast friends because just philosophically, we're in line and approach things the same way in that way. So over time, we started working on different projects. I founded a nonprofit. I asked Molly to be on the board. She came on the board, and that's when we really started thinking about the question of what happens after Ava graduates. You have all these services and things available for the under 21 crowd, but after 21, what's out there? What kind of job opportunities would she have? What kind of things could she experience? And so we started looking around, and the short answer is not a lot. There were a couple things that were really cool throughout the country. And so we took a few trips. We did a lot of research. We met some very inspiring people. And then for a million and one reasons, we got into the culinary space and decided that we could start here and expand different types of job roles out of the baking and the culinary elements.
It's it's an amazing bakery. So, um, I think it's wonderful what you've created. So tell us about the bakers. How do you find them? Is there a process for hiring? And if there is, what is it?
So I can start. So we have a small compact space in the heart of Park Slope near the Barclays Center. So we don't actually do a lot of recruiting. It's really been pretty much word of mouth, just because as a parent of a child, sometimes I would go see a program and I would fall in love with it only to be told that the waiting list was like years long, right? So we sort of never
Hmm.
wanted to we've kept it really small and just word of mouth because we do have a wait list. And really, you've been there, so it feels some of these bakers have been with us since the very beginning, so for 8 years or whatever, and it really does feel like family. So definitely word of
Hmm.
works. And what was the other question?
Is there a process like once you review the resume or however you do it? I mean, I'm not talking about resume, but is there then like a process where you have to like determine if they meet the criteria to be to work in your space? I mean, I know it's kind of hard because like everyone has different abilities.
Yeah, I think
Um,
I think it's a great question, and it's one that we really tried to tackle early on because a lot of places that do job training don't necessarily have an outlet for the employment piece.
right.
Sometimes they work for a really long time on something like a video resume, which is a really great tool to have in their toolkit, but it doesn't always translate to paid, meaningful jobs for
Right.
our community. So what we've done is created a training program where we do not want you training in perpetuity. We want you getting trained, gaining mastery and independence, and then converting into what we call a certified baker. So if you, Allie, are amazing at making chocolate chip cookies, we have a chocolate chip cookie certification. You would train over time in our classes alongside our culinary professionals. We individualize the curriculum to meet you where you're at. So if you have little experience in the bakery or a ton of baking experience, it doesn't matter. Our job is to really help meet you where you're at, make the adaptations you might need to thrive, and then we train you on that product. And you're doing lots of other things along the way. But essentially, we're focusing a chunk of your time with us on that specific product. So you get amazing at it from start to finish. Then you go through, it's a really cool thing called a certification ceremony. You get your own chef coat
Mhm.
with your name on it and a little badge of, the cookie. If you're a cookie maker, you get a cookie badge on there. So it's their own, symbol for all the hard work they put in. They get a certificate, and then that makes them eligible for paid shift work with us. So when our big corporate partners like JetBlue places an order for 400 cookies, we fill our hire me shifts with certified bakers who are on that roster, and then you're
Mhm.
paid for your hard work.
It's incredible. What types of adaptive tools and like equipment do you use, including like app programs? Because obviously,
Yeah.
to help the bakers with their cognitive abilities.
Yeah, I think the most important adaptation that we make and the most important tool in our bakery is technology. And
Right.
that's evolved over time since we started.
Hmm.
Every single one of our recipes, for instance, is made into a digital cookbook. And it's a visual format. It's like a step-by-step guide. And
Hmm.
each recipe has its own cookbook, and it's put on tablets. So if you can swipe along with a finger, you can follow along with the process. It takes out the need for back and forth conversation in order to do the actual process. Is much more of like a show us what you can do kind of mentality. So the
Hmm.
idea is that a new baker comes in, we open the tablet, they're able to follow along with the process. And I, as the instructor, might give initially give a bunch of modeling and instruction and coaching, but the idea is for me to fade into the background, and then the tech becomes the job coach basically. And that way,
Hmm.
by the time they reach certification, they come in, they pull up their recipe that they see on the workflow up on the board. They know, oh, I'm making blueberry lemon cookies today. Here's the recipe. And then they're off to the races. They go get their own equipment. It takes them through every step of which tool do I need, which ingredient, how much, and where does it go. So it allows for, again, for a wide variety of people to be able to navigate and master the process over time. So that's the most important tool in our bakery. Then we have some like hardware adaptations, like we have
Right.
color-coded measuring cups that exactly match what they're seeing on the digital cookbook. The space is laid out very purposefully. So again, we're creatively trying to solve the problem of how do we allow for the maximum independence for all of our bakers.
Yeah. That all makes sense.
Give
So
us,
let's just a variety of the baked goods you make and then talk about the dog treats.
yeah, well, the
You don't
dog
have to give
treats are
me,
like
but just a general overview.
the dog treats are where we started. That was our inaugural product. And
Okay.
very quickly, the bakers showed us that they were ready for more. So we had to bring on more culinary professionals who could inform the different types of things that we were making. And then we're in New York City. So we knew that there was a really good market for high quality products. And a lot of what we make and sell are vegan. And so we make everything from cookies to brownies, cupcakes, cakes, custom cakes with any design that you can think up on the top. We make my personal favorite at the moment are our fruit crumb bars. So they go with different seasonal fillings. We've had
Yes.
apple crumb bars. Right now, they're upstairs. They're making cherry crumb bars. They are so good. I'm actually salivating thinking about them.
Dean, how have you seen, really, I guess since you started, but like your bakers' self-esteem and confidence increase with their, you know, increased abilities and success, being a baker?
I mean, I think the reason that we started the bakery 8 years ago is because we knew that there was a missing piece of, what is everybody going to do after age 22 and after
Right.
they age out of school programs. And there's an 85% unemployment rate. And we really started this from a place of belief in the bakers. And it was just an experiment and a hypothesis of like, let's see what they can do. And I still remember 8 years ago when we were in the commercial kitchen and, we all ourselves had doubts. And, families would say, I don't know if they can stand and work for 3 hours, or, we're in an intimidating kitchen with knives on the wall. And so it's really amazing to see how far we've come in the 8 years of every time we raise the bar, they meet the challenge, they excel. We're constantly having to up the ante to really meet them and allow them to grow. So I think the confidence, and when they come into the bakery for the very first time, we say to them, we're so happy that you're here. We want to train you to work, and we are not going to underestimate you. And I think just that belief in them, especially, we work hard to have all kinds of profiles in the space. So we have our minimal or our non-speaking bakers in there alongside folks that maybe need less support or live independently or travel independently. I think the one common theme back to this 85% unemployment rate is that they've all been underestimated to some degree. And so to be in a place where we firmly believe in your abilities, and then they're in community too, they're in community with their fellow bakers. And it's just been beautiful. I mean, it's just like watching anyone
Hmm.
thrive and excel, and the difference in any one of us with confidence versus without confidence.
What do you like to see of inclusion and the disability, like, you know, workforce employment in like the next 10 years? Or like, what do you hope to get out of this or be at in the next, what, a year and 8 years? So like 16, or another 8 years, so a total of 16 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the 8 years since we've started, what's great is when we first started, there were very few social enterprises. So it's just
Hmm.
first things first to see more social enterprises, more places popping up. That's fantastic. I think the next evolution will be, we obviously have found the workaround with Hire Me, where we're getting our bakers paid because the employment partner is hiring and we're managing the workforce. But I think if we really want to move the needle on employment for the disability community, we need employers to start employing our community. So it,
Mhm.
we're constantly working in that direction though, but our bakers are trained, they're, reaching proficiency. And I think especially when we talk about the minimal and the non-speakers, we need people to hire them because they're
Hmm.
ready to go. So I think that's where we're always hoping to move, right? We know that this is a talented workforce. We know that they can be trained and that they are all the things that make a reliable and a wonderful employee. And now we need the employer side to start giving them a chance. That's what we would hope to see in the future.
Mhm.
It's
I
great.
want to
Anything?
add on that until the neurotypical world is ready to like fully support inclusive hiring. One thing that we're developing, and we're at a pretty exciting testing phase right now, is an Invictus app. So we're basically taking all the methodology, all of the curriculum, all of the things that we do, and consolidating our intellectual property into one technological platform. So we're going to have different kinds of clients. So if you are a mom of a special needs kids in Omaha and you can't physically come to our bakery, we can kind of airdrop what it is we do, and they can use their tablet or their laptop to access our proprietary recipes, to look at the certification trajectory, all those kinds of things, in-house. And then we're also working and partnering with day habs, schools, institutions, like really any place where people with special needs congregate, need something meaningful and purposeful to do that leads to job skills and potential employment. That's what we're trying to leverage this app to be able to like blow the walls off of our reach and expand our
Of course.
mission nationally and globally.
I can't wait
Like,
for that. But also,
Um,
like, but this was great. Thank you so much.